Good afternoon. My name is Scott Rudler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Lab.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead.
观众们，大家好，欢迎收看今天的直击美股，我是主持人张叔，在纽约向您问好。周四，我们看到美股是小幅度的收开，但是总的来说，今天一天的美股的一个涨跌幅都不是非常的巨大。这主要由于明天将会有一个非常重要的一个非农就业数字出现，因此今天的市场情绪是比较谨慎的。在昨天的一个小非农支撑的 ADP 就业数字公布之后，市场是看到2月份私营部门是新增了298000的一个职位。总的来说，这个数字是远远的好于预期。而在这个数字公布之后，包括像高盛以及瑞银也是非常快的就提升了自己对于明天这样子一个就业数字的一个预期。那目前为止呢，我们看到包括像芝加哥商品交易所要公布的一个联储观察工具，也是显示了3月份加息的概率高达90.2%。但总的来说，现在分析师除了3月份加息的关注之外呢，还在关注的是今年究竟会加息多少次。如果明天的就业数字出来，发现2月份新增的一个市场职位要高于30万的话，有可能加息会高于3次以上，而这也是市场关注的另外一个重点。那今天的经济数据还包括了我们此前所看到的上一个月的一个进口价格是上涨了0.2%，并且上周的失业金申领人数也是从13个月以来一个低点反弹。另外一方面，我们看到原油和黄金依然是吸引着市场的一个注意。在昨天，原油是大幅度的下跌，也是跌到了13个月以来的一个最低值，是跌幅超过了5%。而今天原油依然是在继续的下跌，并且是自去年的11月份之后首次跌破了50，因此呢，这也是使得市场承压的一部分原因。那另外一部分原因还来自于黄金，由于我们看到黄金是在加息的预期下一直在下跌，并且现在加息的可能性基本上是在进一步的提升，因此黄金在未来一段时间内恐继续下降。好的，更多关于市场的消息，让我们来看一下交易员访谈。Hi Scott, your stock traded slightly higher today, and actually we saw this earlier sell-off earlier this week, but now we see the market is bounce back a little bit, and you come off a little bit like shorting the market, but now you're long. So how do you think about today's market?
Well, we've been under a little bit of pressure, so I think some guys were trying to make a little bit of money short, but better off to look for a spot to buy. So today I did come in short, and I was thinking, hey, you know what, with the weakness in oil and the weakness in the small caps, maybe the S&P could play some catch up. So my target was a 21-day. So if you look here at the chart of the S&P cash, or right here, basically, this was my first target. So we did get here. So at this point, I covered my spiders, and I got a little long. Why did I get a little long? Because, hey, you know what? This high here of 2,400, we wound up hitting a low here of 2,354. That's 50 handles off the highs. So, we've seen a nice rally, lots of different buy points. This was a nice buy point. Down here was another nice buy point. This trend is still intact. So I figured this potentially would be a nice, at least cover shorts, maybe buy. And then tomorrow we'll see, can we clear this spot to get some momentum back. At this point, I feel like if you were short from this spot, at least cover, and then tomorrow we'll figure out if a little bit of buy interest comes back.
Oil closed lower today, and also it broke 50 today. So do you think it's a buyable dip?
I don't think, it's going to be the bottom yet, but from 54 down to 48.5, at least it was a spot to cover some shorts. When you trade, you want to trade ranges. And yesterday or the day before, it broke from the bottom, the top end of the range through the bottom. So today, if you look at it, you have a short-term pivot. So that's a new point of reference with price discovery. So if you look at the USO, for instance, the USO is near 1138. So here, it went all the way down into this gap to hold around 1030. So is it constructive? No. I think maybe it wants to come back and test the 200-day, which would be a small bounce. Same thing for the oil stocks. If you look at the XLE, which we were talking about, it's still in a downtrend. It's still a weak sector. Here is when you could have been a seller. This is when I got out of my long. This is when some guys got short when it broke this pivot. So right here, maybe at least you covered. Some guys actually probably bought a little bit. And now I think right into this area, we'll see if they sell that rally. But for now, this trend is still to the downside. But you could play ranges from 72 down to 69. That's a big range. And now we'll see if it rallies back up here, if sellers come back to sell it and maybe even short it.
Small caps were market leader along the Trump rally, but now we see some weakness in this sector, and it seems like they changed the tone. So how do you think about this group?
I actually tried buying it today, and in the morning it was stronger than the afternoon. So I did not take the small caps long, but I think tomorrow will be interesting. If we do get it down open, I think that this spot in the IWM could be worth at least a bounce. Okay, here is when it tried to get through highs and failed. Here's when it lost this small upper support. So down here, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down days, I would say at least cover your short, and then maybe tomorrow, if it's lower, you look for a little bit of a long. But at this point now, it's below all the moving averages. It's a little broken. It's in the penalty box, but it's definitely a little bit oversold. This move right here gave us some clues that the overall market might be ready for a little bit of a decline, which we just had 50 handles to the downside.
Okay, I think that's all we have for today.
Yes, and tomorrow we do have the jobs number. You know, I don't think it's going to be as hot as the ADP. I think the market would like a strong jobs report, just not too hot, because no one wants to start talking about 4 rate increases. I think they'll just be 3, and that's what the market's comfortable with.
像 Scott 所说的，今天虽然交易量比较清淡，但是明天有非常重要的就业数据即将发布，希望您继续关注我们的节目，我们下期再见。